Hi, Dad.
Hi. Hockey sticks. Never had hockey sticks when I went here. How was school?
Good.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Listen to this. Do you know who that is?
No.
Let's play audio car trivia. That's Letharo. They're from Hamilton. They're a local band. They are metal. Mom sent you a message saying, meet me at the bus stop because we're running late, but then traffic cleared up and I got here on time.
Okay.
So just ignore that message. When we get home and you get on the Wi-Fi and you get the message that says, meet your dad at the bus stop, don't walk to the bus stop.
There's Wi-Fi in the building, but I always have my phone in my backpack, so can't really check.
What's he waiting for? What is he waiting for? Oh my goodness. Ah! Just go.
What?
Yeesh, right? There's not even a car on the road. Oh my goodness. The police down that way. I saw the other direction. Oh, so how was school?
Good.
What are you learning about in science now? Let me guess. The crystallized shape of electrons?
No.
Atoms?
No.
You done that part already?
Electricity.
Ooh, electromagnetic
Right
fields?
now, static electricity.
Ah, I would confuse the snot out of you with what I know about electricity. The electricity. Oh. How does electricity move?
I don't know. Right now we're just
What have you learned about electricity?
not electricity. Right now we're learning about static electricity.
We're not learning about electricity. We're just learning about static electricity.
Yeah.
They're different?
Yes, they are different.
How are they different?
I don't know. Ask my teacher.
Well, how does static electricity work then?
Well, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
Okay. Everything creates some form of friction to create a static charge, a negatively or positively charged surface when grounded with another surface of a different charge will normalize. Zap. So what did they teach you about the static electricity?
Well, we're just learning there's like a couple different things that he had, and we rubbed some silk against like some plastic, and then we put it around these things or something, and then they moved. And there was like this tape thing we did. I don't know how it works, but the tape was like we did something to it, and it did not like each other, and then it was like sticking to each other.
We created a temporary magnet.
I guess you could call it that.
Yeah. You can charge some metals to have a specific magnetic orientation. Is that what it was? You would be able to make it like it was magnetic and it stuck to something else?
Yeah. It's attracted to it.
Yeah, but before you did whatever you did to it, they weren't attracted? Yeah, so you're just sort of creating magnetic poles.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's it?
Yeah, well, we wrote lots of notes. And then that was it.
Notes. I have got to be the only one that went through my entire high school without any notes.
How did you do that?
I got in so much trouble all the time, but I got through it. I don't know how I got through it. I don't know if I could do that now. Like now, it takes me a little bit longer to learn something and to like memorize it. You know, I may have to hear it 2 or 3 times.
Like if you don't have your notes open, then the teacher will ask you to open them.
I know. Yeah, I would get in trouble. I would draw pictures. I was just not interested in a lot of things they had to say. But then when they were doing, you know how they do like their lesson, and then they go into details explaining it, and then they do like question and answer period or something. They'll ask you questions. Anyone have any questions about this? That's when I was checking out. I was like, yep, got it. I don't need to learn this. I'm good. I know what he's talking about. And they teach you wrong. Oh my goodness. They teach you... It's not that they teach you wrong. When you get into electricity, they teach you electricity without the physics behind it. Like how electricity flows. They just teach you that it flows somehow.
I guess so.
Through wires or something, right? Well, the wires only dictate the vector. But they won't, like, I guarantee you, I could set you up with some interesting information that if you asked your teacher about it, that he'd be like, we're not talking about this anymore.
What?
It's like how electricity actually goes from a source to a load. Like what? For example, how does something like a power plant? There's power wires overhead here, right? They go from a power plant to, say, your light bulb in your house, right? But it doesn't just send electrons through the wire. For starters, this is all alternating current, right? So alternating current would go one way, then switch and go the other way, and then go one way and switch and go the other way, depending on how many hertz you'd have. So if you've ever heard the expression 50 hertz or 60 hertz is pretty common around here, that's 60 times a second that it oscillates and changes direction. So the electrons that are actually in the wire barely move at all. It's a very, very small amount. And I can prove that the electricity doesn't flow through the wire. See that right there, that on the pole? Yeah. It's a pole top transformer. Inside that transformer, there is a primary and secondary winding of wire. They're not attached to each other. There's space in between the two. There's a gap, right? So from a power plant to a coil, it's a coil, the primary winding of, let's say it's copper, right? Most of the time they use like a grain-oriented steel. And then you'd have secondary windings that would come off as a different voltage. So you can transport electricity really far at a high voltage, so you would lose less energy, right? And then the lower voltage after a transformer would be something that you could use an appliance on that's safe for home appliances, right? But they use a higher voltage to transport it further distances, and then when they get to the house, they lower the voltage, right? So that you can use it. You don't need 20,000 or 60,000 volts to power a television. You need, I don't know, you need 1,000 watts to power a kettle. But your home only runs off of like 120 volts, or a couple lines, 2 lines of 120 equals 240 for the dryer downstairs, and the hot tub, they run off of 240 volts. So that's the highest we have in our house. Look here, you can tell from the insulators, see how the wire is held off of the pole by those rings? Each one of those saucer rings on the beam that comes off the pole is equal to some, I forget the number exactly. I'm getting old, I think. Each one of those rings is something like 10,000 volts. So if there's 2 rings on these, this could be 20,000 volts, right? On the big towers. You know, you would never use 20,000 volts in your house just on these big power towers, right? And then they go to polling stations, and then, well, but my point is that the coil isn't even attached to the other coil. The primary and secondary coils don't even touch. There's a gap in between. So electrons can't flow through the wire. They have to flow outside of the wire, right? It's really trippy stuff when you start to learn about that. Something to look forward to. But your teacher's probably going to tell you that electricity flows through wires. And then you can put up your hand and be like, my dad said electricity doesn't flow through wires. It flows through the space around the wires. And I can prove it. And I could probably do a fairly good demonstration for your class if you ever told them, my dad's coming in here to teach you all the right way. All the right things. That's okay. Science is fun. Yeah. And I think there's still some debate about electricity, but the ones that make the most sense are ones where an insulated wire would control the vector, and through a dimension in space alternative to the Cartesian coordinate universe we call home, that's where the electricity flows. That's why you don't get electrocuted when you touch an insulated wire. I think that's how it works. But somebody's gonna probably be like, you're wrong! It works like this! And that's just another theory. But I'd be surprised if I'm wrong. And somebody can prove it. Somebody can prove me wrong. Never wrong. Oh look, we got here in once. That was pretty quick, eh?
Mm-hmm. 11 or 12 minutes.
Oh, the video?
Mm.
Nobody watches these videos that long. Watch for like 6 minutes. If you're still watching this video right now, comment in the section below. I want to see who's actually made it this far. Don't you? Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, press it. You press it. Beep.